What's going on, guys? What would Vinny do? First, I want to thank last week's guest, Mr. Jamal Hattie, for sharing his amazing journey. I wish him continued success. I'm sure he will be successful. I know the type of guy he is and the drive. And I just want to touch tonight on a couple of things he said during his discussion with me that I find interesting. And it's kind of what I like about the show, you know, when I talk to people and I ask them what's the reason, like what's pushing you, what's your why, what keeps you motivated. And for him, it was personal growth, just improving himself and growing as a person and in business. And if you look at the journey, I mean, it's amazing. Like he started with one office, we have with 40 people, 50 people. Now we have 2 full offices. We're over 100 agents, running on all cylinders, growing, hiring staff. Like the growth has been amazing. And I've seen it, and hopefully he's seen my growth as well. But the thing is about that, a lot of people they think because someone else is doing successful in what they're doing, that it takes away from them. So another agent comes in and they're doing really well, and somehow that affects you negatively. That's not the case. Actually, it's quite the opposite. You can kind of use that as motive. I've had a case where an agent came in brand new and was doing really well and was top in the office, and I was like, whoa. And I'm like, I gotta regroup and I gotta do better. And it kind of let me see it can be done. Like any field, if someone's doing amazing things in that field, like we're in the Bronx office, we're affiliated with the Scarsdale office. If there's an agent in Scarsdale that's putting up tremendous numbers, that's great. I love it. It doesn't bother me. That shows me it can be done. And usually we talk about success leaving clues, and now you know it's possible. Once you see something happen, I mean, I remember the first time Mike Tyson lost, and it was like, oh my God. But then I think other people saw it was possible, and it started to happen. So it was like, it was amazing to see it the first time. And that's kind of like what I like about Keller Williams. And Jamal talked about when he came here, it kind of taught him to be a leader versus a manager. For me, I would say the most important thing it did for me was to think big and realize I could accomplish things that I never thought I could. And I mentioned that on the show with him, and I'm just going to reiterate it. And just the growth, when it's about growth, people just have this feeling that other people doing successful they hate on people. Like it doesn't affect you negatively in any way. It's a good thing. People hating on other people, there's no reason for it. People hating on Tom Brady because he's doing well. Like I understand you don't like the guy because he beat your team over and over. But if you don't respect what he's doing, there's something wrong with you. And to me, anyway, if you don't to be the 199 pick in the draft and then to become one of the best to ever do it, and for this amount of time, it's just insanity. It's insanity. And I respect it. I respect greatness, even if I don't like the player. I don't like LeBron James per se, but I know obviously he's a good basketball player, and I can admit he knows how to play the game. I've seen him win games by himself. I've seen him play every aspect of the game. He obviously put in work, and he knows how to play basketball, and you could tell. And for me, guys like that, like Tom Brady, are just once in a lifetime. And for me to hate someone like that, it's almost like I'm almost like grateful that I get to watch it, let alone hate it. The same thing, I used to feel that way about Mariano Rivera and Michael Jordan. At the end, I remember going to net games to see Jordan, and I would be like, I'm never going to see this again. Telling my nephew, I mean, this is like amazing what we're getting to see right now, this guy, and the things that he's able to do on the court. And I was right. And Mariano just coming out, and every time he just win. And to watch that for years, and now look, when he's not there, like it's a lot harder to win World Series without him, right? So I mean, I respect greatness. I'll be rooting for Brady on Sunday. I will, and to me, the fact that he's playing. If the Rams were playing the Falcons, I wouldn't even care what happened. If the Rams are playing a different team, it wouldn't even matter. The fact that he's there makes it interesting. I want to see, can he possibly do it again? Because it's amazing to me how long he's been doing it. I'll be rooting for him. Obviously, I'll be rooting for my boxers a little bit more, but hopefully we can. He can win and I can win, and it'll be all good. We're gonna do something fun tonight. We're gonna do something different. We're gonna take a call. It's a client of mine that a VIP client. I've worked with her for a while. We've been in contact since we've done the transaction. Just like most clients, they become friends, and I'm happy to have her on. And here she is, Carol Madonna. You there?
Hey, Vince.
Carol, what's going on? Thank you so much for calling in, taking the time to call in.
Thank you. I don't know many people that are rooting for the Patriots for Sunday.
I hear you. But I think that's most people are just jealous, you know, and that's what I'm talking about. They just don't like to me, like, it doesn't bother me that, I mean, I understand if you're a Jets fan and he beats you over and over, it's frustrating. And I understand people want to see someone else win. Like, if the Rams win, I'll be happy for Goff and for Gurley and for these guys winning the first time. But I also like the aspect of it, like, can this guy continue to do it? It makes it interesting to me, and I respect the work that he puts in to play at this level for so long, you know?
Especially at his age, too.
Exactly. And that's how I feel, because I'll still beat 18-year-old kids in basketball, so I got to respect that. You know what I mean? I got to give him respect. Because we're in the same gang, me and Brady, you know what I mean?
You're pretty good on the court.
Thank you. So, what's going on with you? Anything new?
No, nothing new. Just getting ready for tax season.
Cool. I know you got that's your other job. That was your other job the first time we bought the first house, and I know we were looking for a while, and you kind of got frustrated, and we kind of like backed off for a little bit. And but the first house that we bought, it was back in like 2013, I believe, in Country Club, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we bought a house, just to let you know the history. We bought a house together, me and Carol, and she ended up selling it rather quickly afterwards. Stuff went on where she had to sell it. She made money on the house, and obviously, if she would have held the house now, she would have made a lot more money. But that wasn't the way it was supposed to be, and it's all good.
Nope.
Right?
Yeah. It probably would have been worth double now.
Yes, I would have to say so. That was like a hot house. It was spacious. It had the separate apartments and everything, and it was in a great block.
Yes.
But that's in the past. We're looking forward now, right, Carol?
Absolutely.
So what do you got for me on what would Vinny do? What's the question?
So I think, speaking from personal experience, like from last year, looking to buy a house, for somebody like me that's concerned with the inflation of home prices and the ever-changing interest rates, like, what do you suggest? Like, waiting, or do you suggest to pull the trigger and just, go ahead and do it?
All right. Well, that's a very good question, and for me, there's like a couple of different reasons why. So, what are you doing right now? Like, are you paying rent somewhere?
Yeah, right now I'm renting. The house I was living in is up for sale, so I kind of was in a rush, obviously, to do everything. So I just couldn't find a house, so I had to just get an apartment.
So that's what I mean. That's what I kind of talk about. Like, you're paying rent right now, and I'm not going to get into your personal numbers on the show, but if you're paying for a 3-bedroom or like a full house, it could be from $2,500 to $2,800, depending. Utilities included sometimes. So you're paying for rent what you could be paying for a mortgage, right? Yeah. So when you talk about inflation and you talk about houses are inflated, like, people said the same thing last year, and since then, housing's gone up 16%. So they had the same concerns as you. They bought the house, and now their house is worth 16% more. And it's not, the houses are not inflated. Like, to say inflation, or what it is in Country Club anyway, which I could speak on very well, it's supply and demand. So there's not a lot of houses. There's a lot of buyers looking for the same house. So when the house comes up, I mean, we went through it, right? We bid on some stuff, like asking, and we lost, right?
Yeah, a lot of the houses I would go see on a Saturday, and then when we left, the agent was like, that's the final offer by Monday.
Right. A
lot of stuff winds up going in a bidding war, and then it's frustrating because, you only have so much that you could play with, and you wind up getting outbid all the time.
It is. it's tough to be a buyer when the market conditions are that, but that's why you need a good realtor, and to get into a mindset where you have to be aggressive. And that's, I remember, I mean, I remember clearly a guy walking away from a deal for the house was 805. He didn't want to pay the 5. And he walked away. And this was 3 years ago. And now that 805 house is close to $1 million. It was a beautiful house.
Yeah.
And when I see him, he tells me he regretted it, right? So for me, if you're gonna live there and with your family, it's not an investment. If you don't have to sell anytime soon, like I don't worry about inflation and interest rates because for me, I've been doing this long enough where it's like the stock market. It goes in cycles, and if you can hold the house, first of all, it's going to come back. Like anybody, when it was the war, 2007, 2005, and 6, when people bought the houses high, when they lost money when they sold in 2008 and 2009. If they held it to now, they would make money. If you don't have to sell, you know what? Excuse me, what'd you say?
No, I said absolutely.
Yeah. So if you don't have to sell, that's my thing. I would say. And another thing is, I mean, you're talking like an investor, not really like a buyer. If you're gonna live there and your plans are to live there, I tell people that all the time. Like, you're not really thinking about. Of course, you don't want to lose money when you sell, but I mean, my mother's lived at her house on Hollywood Avenue since 1970. Like, does it matter? Like, what? Like, and again, she's been there so long. She raised her kids. If you're gonna go there and live there for 10 years, like, I would say don't worry about it. And I would say the money you're spending now to pay rent, I'd rather be saving money, like forced savings, and you own the house. And if you don't have to sell, you could rent it. You could make another move. You could, if you wanted to get something smaller, when as time goes by, you rent. Tonight I bumped into somebody in Crosby Pizza, and he's like, I just moved up to Rockland. I got a house for $300,000. It's so much space. It's so much cheaper than the Bronx. I'm like, what'd you do with your house in the Bronx? Of course, I'm trying to get the listing, right? So I'm like, what'd you do with your house in the Bronx? And he's like, I rented it out. So if you don't have to sell, like we just talked about it, right now, you think house prices are through the roof. Rentals, like in one bedrooms are like 1,500-1,600. So you'll get your money. Like if you don't got, that's how I feel. I know it's people are a little nervous, and I'm not telling you to get into a bidding war and overpay for a house, but don't worry about like inflation and interest rates. And if you find a house you love and you're gonna live there, then just go for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's got to bottom out eventually, the market.
Right. But how are you going to know exactly when that is? How does anybody know exactly when that is?
No, you don't know.
Right? That's what I'm saying. People last year had your same exact fears right now, and they made out. And the people who didn't buy are kicking themselves in the ass that they didn't buy last year, and now they're going to stand on the sidelines again. And it just becomes like, when is the right time? What you never know. Did you know for sure when we bought in 2013?
No.
So what was any different? Like, why were you not hesitant in 2013? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you just got to have that same approach. You just got to not really, if you're paying rent already, that could be close to a mortgage, and you're going to live there for a while, don't overthink it. Like, you're going to build equity. People are, as long as you don't got to sell again immediately. If you think you're going to be in, like what happened, like you thought you were going to lose, if you think you're going to lose one of your jobs and you're going to be forced to sell, then you could get hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you stay in it, I've been in this business long enough, it will come back around. If it goes down, which we don't know for sure that that's going to happen, even if it does, your worst case scenario comes true. You buy a house next week and it goes down. How much is it going to go down? What do you think? What's your worst fear? Going down how much? So you buy a house next week in Country Club for $600,000, a multifamily house, and then it goes down. What do you think it's going to go down to? $400,000? What's the worst thing that's going to?
$550.
Yeah. So you know what I mean? That's my point. You're not going to get hurt. Like if you buy in a good area where it's going to come back. It'll come back better as long as you're not in a rush to sell. I believe in buying real estate. I'll always believe in buying real estate, even in the worst of times. And there's deals out there. There's people who bought 4 months ago that I know that kind of similar to you. They bought a house in Country Club and they had to sell because of work, and they made $100,000 on the turnaround of the house. Like if you're gonna be like into statistics and numbers and inflation, then you got to be out there doing your due diligence and working with a good realtor, and there you can find deals still. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you sold your house, right? You remember?
Mm-hmm.
You were in like a little bit of a distress, right? And we talked, and you were like, I told you can get more, and you were like, I just need to take it, right?
Yeah.
So the person got a deal, and that's what can happen. You know?
Yeah.
I don't want you to lose faith in real estate. That's all I'm telling you, and don't be scared.
That's why I have you.
Exactly. So, yeah, it's not. Don't worry about that stuff. Don't worry, especially if you're gonna live. If you're an investor, I'd worry about that stuff. But if you're gonna live there, like, don't let it go, and we're gonna find you something soon. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you just gotta pull the trigger.
That's it. So I'm actually very grateful you're watching you're listening to the podcast, and you're giving me some positive feedback. So I just want to ask you, like, what are you getting from it as a listener? Is there's something in particular you're getting out of it that you're enjoying? Is it just entertainment for you? Are you getting something out of it that you think you can apply to your life?
Yeah, I like to hear like your personal feedback and stories on everything you've been through, and even your guests. I think the dynamic between you and Pete and you and Jamal were great, and it seemed like both of their podcasts were almost the same. Like, you know, they started from the bottom and now, you know, they're at the top, and they took a risk and they pulled the trigger, and look at where they are today.
That's it. That's great that you say that, because a lot of people, like I tried when I did the podcast, when I didn't have a guest on, I kind of talked about the risk that's involved. Jamal opened up an office in the worst possible time. Pete lost his life saving. So besides the work and effort that everybody knows about, we got to take some risks. So now that you're an official Viper and you listen to the What Would Vinny Do show, that's part of your responsibility to kind of take some risks too and step out of your comfort zone. And I'm going to check up on you and make sure you do that. Are we going to do that?
Absolutely. Yeah. I will try my best just for you.
Thank you so much. And thank you for everything. And of course, you know what I got to do. I got you on the show and I know you follow. So I'm going to ask you the 3 questions that you know what they are. So,
yep.
Who's your favorite NBA player?
Michael Jordan, hands down.
Okay, and then I can never argue that. The best that ever did it. I agree with you. And now your favorite rapper and rap album or song, whichever way you want to do it.
My favorite rapper is Jay-Z, of course. I think he's a lyrical genius. And my favorite rap album is Ready to Die by Biggie.
Love it. I love both of those answers. I love Ready to Die is one of my favorites. Jay-Z, I definitely love him. He's not one of my tops, but I like a lot. So what's your favorite song from Jay-Z?
Well, my favorite song is a song that not many people know about because it's not mainstream, but the name of the song is Song Cry.
Make the Song Cry. Yes, that's a great song. I know that song very well.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you something interesting about Jay-Z. Crazy. When we were younger, we used to hang out at Waterbury Park, and I don't remember the girl's name. I swear, clear as day, she came to the park with posters of Jay-Z, and she said she just started working at this place, and it was Rockefeller Records, and they were giving out posters because he just started, like he was nobody, you know what I mean? And I didn't even want the poster. I'm like, who the hell is this dude? And now look at that. We should get him on the show, right? That'd be a great story.
Yeah.
Carol, thank you so much for calling in. Thank you for the support always.
No problem, Ben. Thanks for everything.
All right, we're going to buy a house soon, right?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, have a great night. Thank you.
All right, you too, Ben.
Bye.
Bye.
So, Carol Madonna, Jay-Z, another Jordan. Obviously, Jordan's been the most picked. Jay-Z, I'm not sure if anybody picked Jay-Z for the rappers yet, but Ready to Die is a big one too. We got to keep track, and we got to have a contest at the end of the year who everybody picks. I'm sure Jordan's going to win hands down. So I want to go back to personal growth and what we were talking about with Jamal, and I want to talk about my personal growth and some noticeable changes I was able to make, which kind of helped me to be able to grow my business and grow as a person. So when I first got to Keller Williams, there was no Bronx office. I was a Bronx agent that was just looking for a place to work where I could trust people. The commission split was secondary to me. I had literally went through some bad stuff. I'm not even going to talk about it. I had the office I was working. I'm not going to get into that. But I'll just say my main reason, or what I was looking for in my new place, was being able to trust people because of what I had been through. I was from the Bronx, so I kind of had this Bronx attitude. I was fairly young. I had kind of like a chip on my shoulder. Meanwhile, at that point, I hadn't did anything in real estate, probably some rentals. And I think someone tells me, I tell them what happened to me, and I said I need to go somewhere, and they tell me to meet this guy. He owns his own place. He's a great guy, and go meet him. He's going to help you. And this is literally right after I have the issue at where I am. I think it might be the same night because I think I was still worked up. Like I was so pumped up. I remember I called the guy. He's like, yes, meet me. And he gives me the address. And I just get in my car. It's like 10 at night. I drive in the Bronx. I meet him in the street, not even at an office. It's on the street. I remember it was like by Masha Lu, by where my brother had the pizzeria. He gets out, and we're in the middle of the street, and I'm all amped up. I'm like jumping around, and I'm going. I said, I want to work for somebody I could trust. I want to do this. And I'm telling him all the stuff that I could do. And he's like, I own this office right here. And he's pointing to this building. And it was literally nighttime. I couldn't even see the building. And I'm like, so let's do it, man. Like, what's the next step? And he tells me, no, we got to go to Keller Williams. I'm like, what? Like, I had never heard of Keller Williams before. I didn't even know what it was. I'm like, what are you talking about? Why do we got to go to Keller Williams? You have an office right here. We could just go in here and start making money. And he's like, no. And he keeps talking about this company, Keller Williams in Westchester, where we got to go there and we got to learn from them, and we got to get the proper training, and then we're going to come back, and then we're going to take over the world. But first, this is the first step. We got to go to Keller Williams and kind of see what they do, and then bring it back to his office. So I'm like, I don't understand why. I'm like, if you have an office right here, why do we need to go to it? And I just came from a franchise. I was kind of like, I didn't really want to go back into that environment. Like I was like, you own a place, let's just do it here. And it was in Scarsdale. I'm a Bronx agent, but he just keeps pushing me. We got to go to Keller, and he's being adamant about it. We got to get the knowledge. So I'm just like, all right, this dude got his own place, and he's saying we got to go to Keller. Let's go. So he sets me up with an appointment to meet with the broker, Jamal Hattie, who obviously was on the show last week. And this was over 10 years ago. And I go there. It's 9 in the morning or 9:30. They're having a team meeting. I walk in. It's in Scarsdale. They're eating grapes and cheese and crackers. And I'm just like, they're having a team meeting, and they're just talking about all this stuff. And I was just like, I go in after the meeting, and I meet Jamal, and he's with somebody else, one of his top guys, and it's me and this guy who I met, who told me to go up there and meet Jamal. And I remember walking out of the meeting and saying, I like that guy, the owner. He's a humble dude. Like, he's a good guy. And this was the first 10 minutes I met him, and it came to be. Like, I'm pretty good at that, like judging people, like that first initial meeting. So I didn't really feel the same way about the other guy, but that's another story. So I tell him I like Jamal, and let's do it. So I didn't even ask about money. Like I said, my main concern was trusting people, and I'm ready. What do I got to do? Sign the papers. I go in the next day. I sign the papers, and now I work for Keller Williams. So before the end of the week, if you could believe it, the guy who brought me there quits. So he gets me to go to Keller. He's the one who pushes Keller. I never heard of Keller, and he quits, and now I'm there. And 11 years, and I'm still there, over 11 years. So that was pretty interesting. So I took his advice. I went with him to Keller, and he left. He ended up coming back years later. Funny, I think he's back now, actually. That's pretty funny stuff. So first starting out, coming from what I came from, I'm working in Keller, and there's an admin there who I become close with, and she's helping me out with a lot of the paperwork. I really wasn't good at that stuff. Like at the beginning, not that I'm good at it now, but I really wasn't good at that stuff at the beginning. So, and you need to be at the beginning. It's because you can't get someone to do it for you at the beginning. So actually, she helped me, and she kind of took her time, and I never forgot that. And she kind of showed me how to do this stuff and went out of her way to help me. And she also kind of dealt with me in like, let me vent. I would call. So she talks about it now, how I would call her and I would just say some weird stuff like everybody was out to get me, and I'd be cursing at this one, and I'd be like, this guy did this, and every day it was like a new thing, and I just didn't trust anybody. And I don't know what it was. I guess coming from where I came from, like I'm like the type of person like where I don't trust anybody, and then if you're cool and you earn that, I earn that trust in you, then it's all good. I know people, it's supposed to be the opposite, right? You're supposed to trust people until they mess you up, until they screw you over. I guess I don't know why I was the opposite. I guess, especially in real estate, coming from what I came from, I was just very guarded. I thought everything that happened, I would call her, and this went on for about 3 years. So I'm calling her, I'm going nuts, and I kind of loosened up, and that's where I feel I started to grow when I started to kind of realize that not everybody was out to get me, and I kind of loosened up a little bit, and things started to get better. Business-wise, relationship-wise, when I just started to open up a little more. And you know what? Still, people are gonna try to get over on you every once in a while. And you know what? You cut them off. Like, but you don't. It doesn't have to make you anxious and kind of affect you negatively. You know what I mean? You got to worry about the things you can control, and you doing right by people, and you doing the right thing in every situation. And that's what I learned to do. I stopped flipping out. Also, what I learned from Keller Williams, and so I get to this company and I just see people. I remember this happened in the Bronx office. It happened later on, but I just remember realtors giving classes and giving so much of their time, and they're telling people how they were successful and what tactics they use to make money. And I'm just like, this is amazing. I'm like, why are they doing that? Now I'm going to know their secrets, and but it goes to what I said at the beginning. We can all be successful together. Like, no, me teaching you what I do and how I'm successful, and you telling me some of the things you do is not going to take away from you. It's going to add to you, because if you help people, it can come back to you. Like I've kind of learned that through Keller Williams, and I remember telling him, dude, why, like, what are you giving these classes for? Like, what do you get out of it? And I didn't understand. I don't know if it was immaturity or I don't know what it was. I just didn't understand doing things so much to not get something in return, immediately not get something in return. That's the point I didn't understand. But the funny thing is, now that I kind of understand, you do get back and you get back 10 times what you give. And it doesn't have to happen immediately. And sometimes it will. And I kind of heard a story from Tony Robbins. I'm sure everybody's familiar with Tony Robbins on the show. And he talks about before he became this famous motivator, and he was kind of down and out. He had like $27 left to his name, and he used to go to this place to eat. It was like a smorgasbord where he would get a lot of food for a little bit of money, and he would make it last the whole week. And he talked about how someone owed him money for something he had done, and somebody owed him $1,200, and back then it was a lot of money. He was like, I could have made $1,200 last for a month, maybe more, the way he did things. So he's calling the guy, where's my money? The guy's not answering. He's just like, I'm never getting this money. So he's like, I'm going to go get some food. I'm going to try to take my mind off it. He goes, I got $27 left in my name. I got no money coming in. The place, he didn't want to use his car because he didn't want to use gas. So he walks a mile to the place that has the food that he gets to bring home. And as he got there, he says, he starts looking out. It's a beautiful day. He's looking out at the boats next door. There's like boat yards and the sun. And he's like, his mindset's starting to change. So he's starting to feel better, He's starting to think about positive stuff and just starting to feel a little bit better. He walks in, he's like, let me get my food. And he goes up, he ordering his food. And as he's ordering his food, he turns around and he sees this young kid walking in the door. and he's dressed in a suit with a bow tie, and he's looking dapper, and he's holding the door for a woman, and he goes, and this kid had such a presence that he goes, the woman was probably pretty, he goes, I really don't remember, he goes, I was so focused on this kid. And the kid opens the door, and he goes down, he pulls the chair out, the woman sits down, and he's just like taken back by this kid. So he pays for the food, whatever it was, $10, and he's got $17 left. And he goes over to the table, he got the food in his hand, and he says to the kid, he goes, listen, I saw what you did with your date, man. You're a class act, you're a really great kid. And the kid's like, it's not my date, it's my mom. And he's like, oh my God, that's even better. Like, that's amazing. He goes, well, tonight it's going to be your date, because boom, he takes out the $17, he drops it on the table, and the kid's like, I can't take that from you. And he's like, you have no choice, I'm bigger than you. So the kid he said, you're gonna buy your mom dinner. You're an amazing kid. You know, he goes, I said goodbye to the mom. He goes, I really remember the kid, like, vividly. And he goes, I gave him the money. I had no money now. He goes, I'm going home with my food to my house. He goes, I get to the house, and he goes, there's a message. He goes, I got the old phone with the voice message. I play the message, and if you would believe, it's the person that owed me the money. And he said, not only did he give me the 12, he gave me 1,500, and there was a check in the mailbox for what he owed me. So he goes, and it was that moment that I realized I would never be in need again, because I gave when I didn't have. So you just gotta give. You just gotta give. It comes back. It comes back. I mean, I could tell you so many how true this is. I mean, I had a client appreciation party, and I needed to book the place. And a client appreciation party, if people never did it, it's a great way to give back to your business and to kind of work your sphere. And I'm just thanking everybody who's given me business. And we give them gifts and food, and we just have a great night. And it's about our clients. And I had to get the place. We got a beautiful place on a rooftop. And, I had some sponsors. Some of my vendors helped me out. But when it was time to pay, a lot of stuff had hit, and there was a slow month in real estate, and I didn't have the money, and I didn't even worry about. For some reason, I not that I knew, I just knew we had to do this. We worked so hard on it. We put so much time into it. It was going to happen. That's basically it. So I end up. When you're a realtor, you have some problem with your accountants, and you're trying to always find the right one and trying to do the right thing, your corporation and everything. So I get a new accountant who's really good, my best friend's sister. I go see her in Eastchester, and she gives me the corporation books. She opens the corp, and I'm telling you, none of this is even planned. And I go, I'm going to open up a bank account for the new corporation. So I'm going to go to Chase. That's where I do banking. Keller Williams, the checks come from Chase. I go to the bank, and now besides the party, I owe money for my kid's school. I owe money for a lot of stuff. Everything's hitting at once, right? So I go to the bank, and I'm sitting down, and I'm like, you got the corporate papers. It says Ferrante Realty Team. You feel good. You're a real business. You're looking at the binder, and like Jamal said, like, you come a long way. Like this has been a long journey to get here. And the guy sits down, the teller, and we just start talking. And I'm just like, out of nowhere, I'm just like, do I get a business credit card? And he's like, of course. And I'm like, and bells start to go off. I'm like, how much money's on it? And he's like, I don't know. He goes, we'll check. And I guess they came back and gives it to me, and he goes, there's 10,000 on the card. And I'm like, amazing. And this was like my Tony Robbins moment with the kid. I mean, that money, obviously I paid for the party to give back to people. I was able to pay my other bills, and it kind of saved me at that moment. And then it got me to my next place where I needed the money. So, I mean, this happens all the time to me. It probably happens to a lot of people, and you just don't realize it. But it's just important to give back. It comes back. I mean, I try to help any realtors. Like, I get a lot of realtors who are trying to do it with 2 jobs, and they ask me for advice on how I've been able to do it. And anybody listening, if you're going through that situation, you're working 2 jobs and you're trying to do real estate, and you don't, reach out to me, because I definitely will help you. I've been doing it a long time. I kind of figured it out, and anything I can do to help you, the same way people helped me when I started, I just want to move it forward, and that's what it's about. that's what it's about. I want to, again, thank everybody for listening and supporting the show, supporting the rants as well, the relevant real estate rants. Getting a lot of positive feedback with that. I want to thank Maura for shouting me out all the time and keeping me on point with that. My next week's guest now, like I'm real excited. I mean, I mean, talk about Tom Brady. He's the Tom Brady of criminal attorneys, Mr. Murray Richmond. Don't worry, Murray. I mean, you probably, people have probably known him as Don't Worry, Murray. I mean, tried the most criminal. He's got someone acquitted recently, from what I understand. He's tried the most criminal cases as any criminal attorney in New York. He's still active. He's in his 80s. I'm just excited to have him on. He's exactly what the show is about. I mean, going for it and maintaining it. Like I said, I'm grateful to have him on. I can't wait. I'm excited. And it's going to be a great one next Thursday night, 8 o'clock. Tune in, and thank you for everything.